Hey, this is Eric Hanson with Critical Mass Labs. I'm going to be showing you guys today how to do a rebuild kit on a Thomas air compressor for your nitrogen generator. What I use here is Lab Gas parts from Lab Gas Pros. Nice company. That's the part that I'm going to use. This is the whole kit. Comes with the gaskets here, a couple of things here, all your bafflers, new screws, which is good, with Loctite already on them, which is nice, and more gaskets here. All right, let's get started. So you have to use a Torx screwdriver for sure, because the way they put these on here with Loctite, it's pretty much impossible to do with your hands. So there's 4 screws here, Torx screws, using a size T20. Well, no, that's for the inside actually. Using this size is a T25, okay? Let's take it off. And there's gaskets in here, so it's kind of like taking off a tire. You want to go opposite ways. And just remember which side your capacitor is sitting on here. It's going to be on this side. And it's a lot quicker with the screwdriver here. Good old DeWalt. Alright, now this pops off. You'll see here, that kit gave me a new one of these. And it pops off. See how it's kind of black on the inside there? We have a replacement for that. We have a replacement for these O-rings here, this baffler here, this O-ring here, baffler here, and this thing here. So that other one came right off, no problem. But this one, the gasket's a little bit smushed, so you got to kind of pry it off. And you'll see there's probably our culprit to start with. Something got stuck in the intake. See there? No idea what that is, but thank you for doing that to my compressor. So we got your 2 gaskets. Don't need those anymore. You can kind of put this to the side. Might want to clean it out a little bit if you can. If you got an air compressor, use that. Or you can just do, wet paper towel. Just make sure to kind of blow it out when you're done. Alright, that got out enough of the little particulates there. So it's got this one little thing here. It's kind of bent, and there's another piece behind it. And that doesn't really get in there. So this one's a little sharper to get in there. And you'll see when I do this that there's another little piece beneath it. See there? Right beneath it. And there's a certain orientation for that. So pull this off. With the Gas Pros kit, you get new screws, so you don't need that screw. And you'll see here how that piece is kind of cut off, so you know which way your baffler goes there, okay? So you don't need that either. I like to do them each one at a time, so I'm just going to do that side. Our new bafflers and a new screw with the tiniest little bit of Loctite on there, ready for you. And you see that's kind of dirty. You just wipe it off as good as you can, and you get some gas on it. Remember what I said? That beveled edge goes at the bottom. And then this is kind of curved up. Make sure that curves up, not down, otherwise defeats the purpose. All right, you want to try to get these as straight as possible, just because of the indentations that they make. Okay, it's kind of hard to do sideways and show you here without them falling, but straighten them out as much as you can, and then hold there, screw it down, and you can kind of go to the side a little bit, because as you twist to the right, it's going to twist too. So you can kind of go down and see how it'll twist as I'm twisting the screw. And it's pretty straight. You only want to do that once, so try to do it right the first time. As soon as this gets hot, that Loctite's going to activate, and it's going to be hard to unscrew it again, like the first time. All right, next is that little gasket there, but we're going to put that on last because I'm going to do the other side here. All right, so we're going to take off this little rubber gasket here, which actually isn't that bad, but it's flat enough on one side to start ruining your performance. So we don't need that. Look here in our little Pro kit. Here it is. We'll put that on after we do this baffler. Same thing here, it's beveled down there at the bottom, so watch out for that. Remember, don't need that screw, don't need that baffler. Spray her off. Let's get the new baffler and new screw. Now you can wipe that off if you want, but as long as there's no dust, it's merely cosmetic. Again, your beveled edge will be at the bottom. And you try to get it as straight as possible. See how as I tighten it, it twists down, so you can kind of go to the left a little bit and see it line up perfectly. Perfectly. All right. There's that. See how that one goes in a lot easier because it is new. All right, now that goes on the one side. And then this one, you can take off this. Still looks pretty good actually, but might as well get the whole thing running perfectly. All right, we'll get back to that. Go on this side. That just screws off there. Little rocker. Again, don't need the screw. And then there's this little piece here. It's kind of stuck. I don't need that. We can blow it off. It does go a certain way. See how this one is lower than the left one? So you got to figure that out. Turn it this way. Same thing with the rocker. You got to figure out how those go into there. And remember, our kit comes with its own screw too. You put it in there. And screw it down. Obviously back out a little bit. See, make sure you don't cross thread. All right, and there's one on the other side. Same thing. And we don't need that, don't need that. That piece doesn't come out yet. Okay, no. Let's blow it off. Oh, and while I was smacking on it, little O-ring came out, so that's good. Don't need that. All right, baffler, same thing. There's only one way it goes. Same thing with the rocker, only one way it goes. I think that was the incorrect way. Here's your screw. Don't get it too tight because it is plastic. It'll crack. There's the other O-ring for this side. And it's a little mad face. Little meh face, maybe? A little meh. I don't know. So these will come on later because you don't want them to come off. But that's exactly where they go. See how that fits just perfectly. But they'll go down, or they'll be up actually, so you don't want them to mess up that way. Same one on this one. There is a line going through the middle. Got a little confused at first, but you'll see this line go straight through the middle. And you put it in there that way, the gasket. Kept calling it an O-ring, but it's not an O, so. All right, so you're basically done with this side. Once you do, you want to put this on last though, so there's no point in putting this together because it'll just fall right apart. You kind of want to put this on top of that, then this on top of that. So we'll move on to the inside here, and it should be the same torque screw to get this one off, and then you'll need that T20 to get these off here. All right, and these are really torqued in much more than the other ones were. So yep, and then that fell off there, which I don't think we'll need that, but we'll see. I like that part. All right, you ready? Same thing there. That screw we don't need. You'll need this little piece back, but this piece, even though it's not too bad, but you wouldn't believe how much thinner it is than the actual new part. So that's in this bag here. So what I like to do with the new one, this is the new piece here, just because it's still kind of bowed out some, you'll have to put it kind of through here so that it conforms to this. And this side here, where it's kind of beveled out there, that's the side down. Right, yeah, that's the side down. So you'll see how it smushes into this better this way. Okay, it doesn't feel exactly right when you do it this way. It'll feel better that way. Okay. See how those O-rings just kind of flop off too. This is our bad one. This looks horrible. This side actually not that bad, but you'll see here the difference between that and our new piece is huge. I mean, this is our bad guy altogether. So what I like to do here is just pop this on a little bit, and then start with it. You can kind of push down on this and it'll move it up some. And you start with it like that. And your screw is actually long enough to grab that. Get this fat screw out. And make sure to drop your stuff as much as you can. So putting it on this way gets, when it starts cupping around this metal piece here, it gets it as even as possible. Because if you kind of do one, say if you push it with your hand, you kind of do one side at a time, it doesn't make that even, and then it could kind of crimp, and you don't want that to happen. Actually, I'm going to stand this up so I don't get it wrong. Now you feel good about that? Go ahead and torque it down. Alright. You'll feel there's a pretty good seal on that right there. Same thing on this side, but there's two, and we need a T20 instead of the T25. You know what I'm saying? Alright, we'll be back. Alright, this is kind of stuck in here right now. That happens to me a lot of times actually. So I did this little number and it seems to work. So here we go. Again, screw, don't need it. Let's try to get the other side. Came out just fine. This can kind of wipe off, but again, mostly cosmetic, and as long as you get the dust off, you're good. Actually, that dust's kind of in there. You see, there's like little Q-tip packages over there. They're not over there. Okay. Well, I want to get a Q-tip in there. Would use this, but that's probably not good. Yes, there we go. All right. Don't use regular H2O. This is LCMS grade water. Regular H2O from your sink, it's got a bunch of bad stuff in it. So just use some chemical grade water. Clean that out. Because where this hole sits here, you wouldn't think it makes a huge difference. But where that hole is where this screw sits here perfectly. So if it doesn't have a way to sit, then this piston is gonna pop up and down, because I have done it before and this piece wasn't on there just perfect enough, and it doesn't hit that screw dead on, and when that happens, you'll hear a lot of that, and you'll end up having to take it back apart again. So, and find out, and I've actually did it on this one before, and it ends up doing a little crack right there, and just ends up really messing things up. So, did you hear me? Another tip. All right, that first one was enough to get it off, but I'm just gonna do a little extra swipe there. And most of these components are aluminum, so everything is pretty much rust resistant. But some of the components in your nitrogen generator are not, so you want to make sure to let this dry before you put it back on. On each side of this, there's fans to keep the motor cool. So the fan brings in dust, of course. So try to just go ahead and get as much of that out as you can. This one actually isn't too dusty. All right, I wanted to show you, like before, with this guy. I don't know if you could really tell the difference, but the people here could. So I wanted to show you the difference between these guys. I mean, this is obvious that this one is bigger than this one, and the beveled edge is basically gone there. And then also it's much thinner than the other one in general. I think you can tell. All right, same thing here. This one is actually a little bit different. This one's like a little C collar with the piece put on here together, and I mean, you can see there it's the same thing. You can see how here it's not as discolored, but you can see in there it's pretty gross. So we go ahead and same thing here. That's the red there is part of the gasket coming off, but you can see these are pretty much the same. So same thing here. I'm going to put this on. And then this little gasket goes next. And our one piece here. Now remember which way it goes, because this doesn't really tell you, or doesn't really show you if it goes this way or this way. But you got to remember, when you put this on, or actually when this piece will go on top of it, and it'll go this way, right? And you can make sure about that, because you'll see, actually nope, it goes this way. So you'll see how this, on this side, it's a little more to the right. So these little notches right here, they gotta be a little more to the right too. So you'll see how that goes on, and it goes on place. So just in that same sense, to flip it this way is how it goes on here, and you'll see here is your screw there. So you need your notch right here that we just cleaned out on top. All right, now I'm gonna flip it over so that I get it dead on. All right, ready to go here. Remember, try to get it as centered as possible. All right, so we're gonna screw this down. I already got one started. We're gonna do the other one, because same thing, like putting on your tires, or just how we took the other side off. You wanna go kind of one down, one on the other side. And you wanna be exact with where you position this side here. Alright, so just like I said, how this piece here has to be centered directly in that, there is a little bit of play in this plate here, so you want to make sure that you get that just exact, because when you start it up and it starts knocking, you're going to have to take this all apart again and start over. So until you get it in this little collar piece, just kind of go one side at a time, just by the littlest bit. And you kind of cut and push there. I think I got it. We'll go ahead and torque it down. If you want, you can kind of mock it up here, and then push on this side. Make sure you get a good seal right here, and that your collar piece down in here, matches up with the O-ring here. Right. So that can go on there. Remember I said how your little gasket piece will flop around. Now you can put that on. Same thing here, and the same thing with your notches. See what there, this side is a little bit to the left here, so you want to put that in your O-ring. Mine just fell out. Make sure that matches up again here, doesn't move around at all. Then you get this out for the other side. And you can kind of push them down a little bit and make sure they're not off at all when you got to put this head on. All right, now I'm gonna take my little guy out. Go back to the T25. And with my kit, came with 8 extra screws to hold that on. So this is especially important when you go to put this head back on, that you go like you're putting on your tires, because that gasket, it gets puffed up on one side. You have to start over again. Oh, what did I say about remembering to put on your capacitor? Sometimes it is still tight. Gotta wiggle it in there. And I don't know if it makes a huge difference, but I go ahead and put the ones on the other side, just in case, because this little bar in the middle here, it is connecting them, and just by chance you get it bent up, you don't want to do that, because I have no idea where you'd buy one. Alright, now we can start torquing it down a little bit. I like to just get it tight. Enough to get it started on all 8 of them. Alright, now don't go too much because I have ripped the head off of one of these, so just enough. Alright, you're done with that. However, the one I got didn't come with the connection piece. So what I have here also didn't come with the intake. So what I'm going to do is take the intake off of this old one, and I'm going to take the connector off of this old one. So you can screw here. There's one little screw holding this on. Might work better with my little screwdriver. I think each compressor is different, but with the nitrogen generator that we use, it's got connections like this, both the 3-prong, and this unscrews here, and you just kind of push this out, and that comes right out. And you want to go ahead and take a picture of that, because you think you might be right is blue, left is brown, middle's green. You would think that would be easy, but you'll forget. So it takes a little tiny screwdriver. Or actually, I can use this one to get this piece off. So there's a collar piece holding the whole plastic on. You can go ahead and take the whole screw out since you'll be transferring it. Or you just kind of twist it there, I guess, like that. Alright, now, hand me that black bag back. And let's see, I need a tiny little flathead. Let's see if the big guy works. Not quite. That's definitely. All right, found it. It's in the bottom of this thing. That's cool, right? All right, so take that out. I guess we can put it back in here. Flip it on here. And then remember what I said. Take a picture. I already did that. And then you can see how these little tiny screws, you just have to do enough to release the tension and they'll come out. They're not forged in fire, they will come out. Oh, these ends to this actually have a little soldering on there, that's nice. Alright, so this side, go ahead and twist them back up. Now let's look at our phone and see the picture that I took. And the blue one is on the right. So it's already starting to mess up. So we'll flip it over here. Brown on the left. Go ahead and screw that one down. Blue's on the right. Alright, green in the middle. Actually, let's take that blue back out so we can get better traction for the green in the middle. That other one was much nicer how it was all soldered. Alright, ground on. Twist the blue back up again. Insert. And twist it down. One thing I did forget. We want this piece back on. Alright, so starting over. So pull this off here. There's a little grommet, an O-ring, and this twister. And we're back. What did I say, blue on the right? Blue on the right. All right, got it. And we're gonna just, this slides up on here, click, and this piece to hold it in. Then you roll the grommet up, O-ring, and this just twists on. Makes a nice little seal there. Alright, so like I said, it didn't come with the exhaust or the intake valve here. So we can just twist this off. And then I can twist, no, not twist that off. But I have a adjustable to take this one off. Sometimes you gotta stomp on it a little bit. Alright, so this is for the intake. So you go to where it says intake. And that doesn't fit. This doesn't fit either. Okay, so then you go to Lowe's and you find a piece that fits. Alright, back from Lowe's. And I got a extra helper here since my other helper left. This is Kaya. And she's gonna give us the things that we need here. I got 1/4 by 1/4
I took it out.
coupling. She took it out, right? And that's here because this little piece came off of a smaller compressor, so we'll just need this as an extension so that it can clear the top here. All right, and then the other piece, let me see it.
It's not even open.
You got to see it rips open like this.
Okay.
All right, now this is a 3/8 inch by 1/4 inch because this tubing, or this is a little bit smaller than what goes in. So now this piece will go in here so it can reduce down into that, right? Like that. All right, we got 2 of those. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put some Teflon tape on these. Be right back. All right, got them Tefloned up. Go ahead and get one started here. One started on the intake. And let's crank them down.
this tape for?
That's the Teflon tape.
Oh,
Don't unwrap it.
I just played with it.
You want to get these pretty good and tight, because that's where a lot of your leaks come from, right at the start. Alright, this one's got some on it, but we'll put a little bit more. Hold that. No.
The whole thing. Wrap around it. And yours in this.
Other one.
Oh. This is so cool. Is it
Yeah.
cool?
Alright, we'll screw this in here.
Yeah.
Try to get a whole turn out of it, because you want it to be up. And then once we plug it in, make sure it's good and no leaks. I think with all that Teflon tape, it might be good.
Oh, no, the package fell.
But keep turning it till it gets up like that. I know that's pretty good because it's already started turning this little inside piece that we, little reducer piece that we put in there. All right, do another little Teflon piece. On the end of this. Not beautiful, but that'll do. All right, here's the little extender piece where that comes in so that
Oh, man.
this will clear here. I'll come back with that.
No.
Also with the compressors, they come with this little intake filter. Looks like a bunch of old carpet fibers, really, but you got to change them out. So there's that in there. And now this piece is for the exhaust where it connects into your system. Go ahead and crank this on. I just pulled it off the one that was already on there. That must be good because it's already starting to hit that inside. Alright, now I realize I've got two female ends, so I need a connector piece for that. I'll be back. Alright, back again. And I've got a 1/4 inch male nipple on both sides. And you hold this? Hold that for me? Now we put our coupling on. Screw that down. are in.
Which might be better if I just go ahead and tape this up.
No, I'll do that part.
And hold it. I'm gonna hold it. It's milk. So it's milk.
Let's see if I can get it all the way around. 'Cause it does need to face a certain way. Alright, good there. And then we've got another piece of tape here. Put on here.
Mm-hmm. So we can all do it together.
And then I'll twist this on. It looks like a silencer. Which I guess it is. Fittings don't have to be crazy tight or anything like that. That's the intake part. Biggest thing is the exhaust. All right, so now we're done.
Yeah.
It's all put together, ready to go.
Mommy, we are done
This
now.
connection is on, and this is ready to plug in. All right, good to go.
It's now up and running after that rebuild by Critical Mass Lab.